You are living a life, but let me ask you something. Is it your life? Or is it a life built for someone else? Think about it. How many decisions have you made just to please others? How many times have you stayed silent when you wanted to speak? How many dreams have you delayed because someone else didn't believe in them? You see, this is one of the greatest traps in life. Living for approval, living for acceptance, living for others. And at first, it feels right. You avoid conflict. You keep people happy. You fit in. But slowly, something begins to disappear. Your voice, your confidence, your direction. Because every time you ignore yourself, you lose a piece of who you are. Now here's the truth. You cannot build a meaningful life by constantly trying to please everyone else. It doesn't work. Because the more you chase approval, the further you move away from your purpose. And one day, you wake up and realize you've been living a life that doesn't even feel like yours. Now listen carefully. Self-respect is not selfish. Self-direction is not wrong. In fact, it's necessary. Because if you don't decide your life, someone else will. And they will decide it based on their fears, their limits, their expectations, not yours. So the question is simple. When will you start living for yourself? Not in a reckless way, not in a careless way, but in a deliberate way, a purposeful way, a way where your choices reflect your values. Because at the end of it all, this is your life, your time, your path, your responsibility. And if you don't take ownership of it, you will spend your years building someone else's vision while yours remains untouched. So today, we begin a different conversation, a conversation about truth, about courage, about reclaiming your life. Because the moment you stop living for others is the moment you finally begin to live. Approval, it feels good. A compliment, a smile, a nod from someone you respect. It gives you a sense of comfort, a sense of belonging, and there's nothing wrong with that. But here's where it becomes dangerous. When approval becomes your direction. You see, most people don't realize it, but they slowly start shaping their lives around what others think. Not what they want, not what they believe, but what will be accepted. And it doesn't happen overnight. It starts small. You change your opinion to avoid conflict. You say yes when you want to say no. You follow a path because it's expected. And each time you do that, you tell yourself something very powerful. My truth is less important. Now that may seem harmless, but repeated over time, it creates a habit, a pattern, a way of living, where you begin to look outward for every decision. What will they think? Will they approve? Will they accept me? And before you know it, you're no longer living your life. You're performing for approval, performing for acceptance, performing to fit in. Let me tell you something important. You cannot win this game because no matter what you do, you cannot please everyone. It's impossible. Different people want different things. Different people have different expectations. So if your life is built on approval, it will always feel unstable, always uncertain, because your direction depends on opinions that keep changing. Now think about this. If you change yourself for one person, you lose yourself. If you change yourself for 10 people, you lose your identity. And if you change yourself for everyone, you disappear. That's the trap of approval. It slowly pulls you away from who you really are. Now here's the deeper issue. Why do people fall into this trap? It's simple. They want to be liked. They want to be accepted. They want to avoid rejection. And that's human. We all feel that. But when that desire becomes stronger than your self-respect, You start making compromises, not small ones, big ones. You compromise your voice. You compromise your dreams. You compromise your direction, all to keep others comfortable. But let me ask you, what about you? Who is making sure that your life feels right to you? Because here's the truth. If you don't stand for your own life, you will fall for someone else's expectation. And expectations can be heavy. They can push you into careers you don't want, lifestyles you don't enjoy, decisions you don't believe in, all because you wanted approval. Now listen carefully. Approval is temporary, but the life you build is permanent. So if you sacrifice your truth for temporary approval, you will pay a long-term price. A life of frustration, a life of confusion, a life that doesn't feel like your own. And the worst part, from the outside, everything may look fine. People may praise you. They may admire your choices, but inside, you feel empty, disconnected, because deep down, you know you're not living your truth. You know you're holding back. You know you're capable of more, but fear keeps you in place. Fear of what others will say, fear of disappointing people, fear of standing alone. So you stay in the pattern. You keep adjusting. You keep pleasing. You keep performing. And slowly, you forget who you were meant to be. Now here's something you must understand. Every time you choose approval over authenticity, you lose power. But every time you choose yourself, you gain it back. And it starts with awareness. Seeing the pattern, recognizing the trap, understanding that living for others comes at a cost too high to ignore, because this is your life, not theirs, your time, your choices, your responsibility. And if you keep living for approval, you will never fully live at all. So this is where it begins, not with action, but with realization, realizing that you've been seeking approval, realizing that it's been guiding your decisions, realizing that it's been holding you back. Because once you see it, you can change it. And that is the first step to taking your life back. Losing yourself doesn't happen all at once. It's quiet, gradual, almost invisible. You don't wake up one day and say, I've lost who I am. No, it happens in small moments. Moments where you stay silent, when you should have spoken. Moments where you agree, when you should have disagreed. Moments where you follow, when you should have led. And each time, you give away a little piece of yourself. Now here's the danger. You don't feel it immediately. At first, everything seems fine. People like you. They accept you. They approve of you. But inside, something begins to change. Your confidence starts to weaken. Because confidence comes from being true to yourself. And when you constantly ignore your own voice, you stop trusting it. You begin to doubt your decisions. You second guess your thoughts. You hesitate more and more until one day you don't even know what you want anymore. Let me say that again. You don't even know what you want anymore, because for so long you've been focused on what others want, what others expect, what others approve, that your own desires have been pushed aside, buried, forgotten. Now think about that. How can you build a meaningful life if you don't even know what you truly want? You can't. You end up drifting, following paths that don't excite you, chasing goals that don't fulfill you, living a life that feels empty. And here's the painful part. You may look successful on the outside, but inside, you feel disconnected. Disconnected from your purpose, disconnected from your passion, disconnected from yourself. That's the cost. Now let's go deeper. When you lose yourself, you also lose your direction. Because direction comes from clarity, and clarity comes from knowing who you are, what you value, what matters to you. But if you're constantly adjusting yourself to fit others, your direction becomes unclear. You start moving, but you don't know where you're going. You make progress, but it doesn't feel meaningful. You achieve things, but they don't feel like yours. That's not success. That's confusion. Now here's something most people don't realize. Losing yourself creates resentment. Not immediately, but over time, you start feeling frustrated, irritated, unfulfilled, and you don't always know why. But deep down, it's because you've been ignoring yourself. You've been saying yes too often. You've been sacrificing too much. You've been living for others. And eventually, that frustration turns into regret. Regret for the chances you didn't take. Regret for the words you didn't say. Regret for the life you didn't live. And regret is heavy, much heavier than fear. Because fear is about what might happen, but regret is about what didn't happen. Now listen carefully. You can recover from failure. You can learn from mistakes, but lost time, you can't get back. That's why this matters. That's why you must pay attention. Because every day you spend living someone else's version of life is a day you don't get back. Now here's the truth. No one is coming to save you. No one is coming to tell you, start living for yourself. That decision is yours, and it requires honesty. Honesty to admit that you've been holding back, that you've been compromising too much, that you've been living a life that doesn't fully belong to you. And that's not easy, but it's necessary, because awareness is the beginning of change. Now let me give you something simple, but powerful. You cannot find yourself if you keep ignoring yourself. It doesn't work. You have to listen to your thoughts, to your desires, to your instincts, even if they go against the crowd, even if they make others uncomfortable, because your life is not meant to be lived on someone else's terms. It's meant to be lived on yours. And the moment you understand the cost of losing yourself is the moment you start valuing yourself, valuing your voice, valuing your choices, valuing your direction, because now you see it clearly. What you lose by living for others is far greater than what you gain. And that realization is what pushes you to take your life back. There comes a moment, a quiet moment, where you realize, I can't keep living like this. Not angry, not dramatic, just clear. Clear that something needs to change. And that change begins with one decision, to start living for yourself. Now listen carefully. This is not about being selfish. It's about being honest. Honest about what you want. Honest about what matters. Honest about the life you're meant to live. Because when you start living for yourself, something powerful happens. You take your power back. You stop asking, what do they want? And you start asking, what do I want? That shift changes everything. First, you regain your voice. For a long time, you may have been quiet, holding back your thoughts, filtering your words, adjusting your opinions. But when you decide to live for yourself, you begin to speak. Not loudly, not aggressively, but honestly. You say what you mean. You express what you feel. You stand by what you believe. And that builds something inside you. Strength. Because every time you speak your truth, you reinforce your identity. You remind yourself, I matter. Second, you rebuild your confidence. Confidence is not something you're born with. It's something you create. And one of the fastest ways to build it is by being true to yourself. Because when your actions align with your values, there is no conflict, no confusion, no second guessing. You make a decision and you stand by it. You take action and you own it. And slowly, that consistency builds trust. Trust in yourself. And self-trust is the foundation of real confidence. Third, you gain clarity. When you stop living for others, the noise begins to fade. All those expectations, all those opinions, all those outside pressures, they lose their influence. And for the first time, you can hear yourself. Your thoughts become clearer. Your goals become sharper. Your direction becomes stronger. Because now, you're not chasing approval. You're chasing purpose. And purpose gives your life meaning. Fourth, you take control of your decisions. No more hesitation. No more overthinking every step based on what others might say. You decide. You act. You move. Not recklessly, but deliberately, with intention, because now your life is guided by your values, not by fear, not by approval, not by pressure, but by choice. And that's real freedom. Now let me slow this down and give you the truth in its simplest form. Living for yourself is power, not loud power, not showy power, but quiet power. The power to say no without guilt. The power to walk away without explanation. The power to choose your path without approval. And that power changes how you live. But understand this, it won't be easy. There will be resistance. People may question you. Some may not understand you. Some may even disagree with you. And that's okay, because you are not here to live for their understanding. You are here to live your truth. Now think about this. If you keep living for others, you lose yourself. But if you start living for yourself, you find your life. A life that feels right. A life that feels aligned. A life that feels yours. And that feeling is priceless. So here's the question. When do you start? Not tomorrow. Not someday. Now. You don't need permission. You don't need approval. You don't need perfect conditions. You just need a decision. A decision to listen to yourself. A decision to trust yourself. A decision to choose yourself again and again, day by day, step by step, until one day you no longer recognize the person who used to live for others, because now you are someone different, someone stronger, someone clearer, someone in control. And that is the power of starting to live for yourself. Living for yourself is only the beginning, because making the choice to start living for yourself doesn't automatically give you the life you want. It's not magic. It's not luck. It's discipline. It's focus. It's deliberate action. You see, living your truth requires more than awareness. It requires courage, and it requires strategy. First, you must define your life. What do you truly want? Not what others expect. Not what society tells you. Not what your friends or family approve of, but what you desire. Take a moment and be honest. Write it down. Visualize it. Feel it. Because clarity is the first step to freedom. Without clarity, even the boldest actions can be wasted. Second, you must align your actions with your values. It's not enough to know what you want. You must live it step by step. Every choice you make, every decision, every habit should reflect your truth. Are your daily actions bringing you closer to your life, or are they moving you farther away? Because here's the reality. A life built to please others may look good on the outside, but on the inside, it feels hollow. Your dreams won't wait for approval. Your goals won't pause for hesitation. They need your commitment, your energy, your focus. Third, you must set boundaries. Living your truth means protecting your time, your energy, and your priorities. Saying no isn't rude. It's necessary. No one else will build your life for you. No one else will protect your focus. If you don't guard your space, it will be filled by distractions, obligations, and expectations that aren't yours. Boundaries are not walls. They are shields that allow you to move forward without compromise. Fourth, you must embrace discomfort. Living your truth isn't easy. It's not always popular. Some people may resist your change. Some may criticize. Some may even walk away. And that's fine, because fear and discomfort are signs you're on the right path. They are signals that you are stepping into your power. They are the evidence that you are no longer living for approval, but for yourself. Finally, you must take consistent, intentional action. Knowing your truth and dreaming about it isn't enough. Action is where the life you want is built. Small steps every day. Decisions that reflect your values. Habits that align with your goals. That is how you construct a life worth living. Remember, it won't happen overnight. It won't happen without effort, but it will happen if you are committed. And here's the most powerful truth. A life lived in alignment with your values. A life built on your choices. A life that reflects your truth. Feels unstoppable. Feels intentional. Feels free. No fear. No regret. No compromise. That's the life you were meant to live. And it begins the moment you stop living for others and start building the life you want. Because living your truth isn't just a choice. It's a strategy, a plan, a commitment to yourself. Step into it. Own it. Live it. Your life, your rules, your truth. Now we arrive at the most important part. Because knowing your truth, understanding yourself, building the life you want, it all comes down to one thing: taking control. Taking control doesn't mean life will be easy. It doesn't mean fear will disappear. Fear will always be there. And here's the key. Fear is not the enemy. It is a signal, a guide, a reminder that you are stepping into something that matters. The moment you stop letting fear dictate your decisions, you start living boldly. Bold living begins with ownership. Your life, your choices, your mistakes, your victories. Stop blaming circumstances. Stop waiting for permission. Stop looking for someone else to lead you. You are in charge. And that power is liberating. Next, take decisive action. Don't wait for the perfect moment. There isn't one. Don't wait until you feel ready. You will never feel completely ready. The strategy is simple. Start now. Start small. Start deliberately. Every action you take, even the smallest, moves you away from fear and toward freedom. Then embrace risk as part of growth. Living boldly requires discomfort. It requires stepping into situations where outcomes are uncertain. That's where real life begins. That's where courage is built. That's where your dreams come alive. Remember this: a life lived safely, a life lived to avoid fear, is a life that never reaches its potential. Next, trust yourself. You have everything you need. Your instincts, your values, your clarity. Trust that they will guide you. Trust that you can handle setbacks. Trust that mistakes are lessons, not failures. Because every time you take control despite fear, you grow stronger. You grow wiser. You grow unstoppable. Finally, commit to consistency. Fear will return. Doubt will creep in. Others may question you, but you must keep showing up day after day, decision after decision. This is how boldness becomes a habit. This is how freedom becomes a lifestyle. This is how living for yourself becomes natural. So here's the bottom line. Life will never be risk-free. Life will never be perfect. But you can choose to let fear stop you or to take control and live boldly anyway. This is your life, your time, your mission. Step forward, act decisively, face fear, and never look back. Because a life fully lived, a life true to yourself, is far greater than any comfort you leave behind. Take control, be bold, live fearless, and that is how you win. Don't wait for anyone to give you permission. Don't let fear or doubt decide your path. This is your life, your voice, your choices. The moment you stop living for others and start living for yourself is the moment everything changes. Remember, approval is temporary. Fear is a signal. Regret is heavy. Your time is limited. So choose wisely. Step into your truth. Take bold action. Live deliberately. And never apologize for being yourself. Because when you live for yourself, you don't just exist. You thrive. You shine. You become unstoppable. Now go and take control of your life. Live boldly. Live courageously. Live your truth. Your life starts now.